Uh,
Well, welcome. Alrighty, well, I'm happy to get us started. It is 5 o'clock. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our 46th Arvin and Lamont CSC meeting. Thank you all for being here tonight. Before we open it up for our welcome and our introductions, we're just going to take a few minutes to set up interpretation and just ensure that everyone can listen and participate in the meeting in the language of their choice. After we set up interpretations, we'll then go through logistics and housekeeping slides. So to start with interpretation, I'm happy to welcome Tanya from Lingüística to share the instructions. Welcome.
Thank you, Mari. Buenas tardes a todos, bienvenidos a su reunión. Queremos recordarles que, como siempre, tenemos interpretación simultánea disponible para aquellos que lo necesiten. Si ustedes desean escucharla junta en español e ingresaron con una computadora, en la parte de abajo del menú de Zoom van a ver el icono de un mundo. Por favor, seleccionen ese icono y seleccionen el canal de español. También pueden silenciar el audio original para que nada más escuchen la voz del intérprete. Si ustedes ingresaron con un teléfono móvil o una tableta, sus opciones se van a ver un poco diferentes. Necesitan tocar su pantalla y van a buscar el menú de los 3 puntitos donde dice más o more, ya sea en la parte de arriba o abajo de su dispositivo. Seleccionen interpretación de idiomas, después seleccionen español, nuevamente silenciar el audio original. Y por último, el botón que dice Done, listo o finalizado. Si necesitan ayuda, pueden dejar sabernos en el chat. Ahora voy a dar esas mismas instrucciones, pero en inglés. Hello, everyone. Welcome to your meeting. This is just a reminder that, as usual, we have simultaneous interpretation available for the people who need it. If you are joining with a computer, and also, if you're a monolingual English speaker, we do ask you to please select the English channel. So if you are in a computer, you'll see a globe at the bottom of your screen. Please select the globe and select English. If you're joining with a cell phone or a tablet, your options will look a bit different. You need to tap your screen and find the menu with the 3 dots either on top or at the bottom of your screen. Select Language Interpretation, select English, and then select Done. If you need any help, you can let us know in the chat. Thank you very much. I can be added to the channel now, please, and thank you.
This is Maddie. Thank you so much, Tanya, and thank you, Diana, as well, who is also supporting from Lingüística. And we can take a moment just to make sure that folks are in the correct channel and can hear their preferred language. And as we wait, just a quick reminder to folks to please speak slowly and state your name prior to speaking. This is so that folks in the Spanish channel can follow along with who is speaking as the speakers change throughout the meeting. As your facilitators, Liz, Amy, and myself, part of our role in these meetings is to work behind the scenes where we'll be taking attendance, offering technical assistance, and general support to everyone, just to ensure that everyone's able to fully engage in tonight's meeting. If at any point you're having trouble with Zoom, the interpretations, or have any questions, please feel free to message myself, Amy, or Liz, and we'll be happy to help. Next, we have a reminder for our naming conventions. We use these naming conventions just because they help with attendance tracking and the stipend distribution process. For CSC members, we ask that you put the letters CSC on your Zoom name. And for residents who are part of the stipend program, please also add the letter R to your Zoom name. If you're having some trouble changing it, please feel comfortable knowing that we'll be making some changes to your Zoom names on our end. And again, this is just to ensure we can track your attendance and support the stipend distributions. For others who are attending tonight's meeting, starting with our agency partners, please do put your agency in your Zoom name. For members of the public who are joining tonight's meeting, we also ask that you indicate that in your Zoom name by putting the letter P, as this helps us track who to call during the public comment period. Next, we have our slide on virtual meeting etiquette, where we ask for folks to stay muted unless you're speaking. And if you're calling on the phone, you can press *6 to mute and unmute. If you have a question or a comment, we also ask that you raise your hand. And if you're calling on the phone, you may raise your hand by pressing *9. We have a reminder for residents in the stipend program as well. In order to qualify for the stipend program, we ask that you stay on for at least 75% of tonight's meeting. Next, we have a review of our group agreements. And please take a moment now to review. I know this is something that we've seen before and is generally pretty familiar. So we won't go through each one, but we wanted to present these as a brief reminder of our engagement tonight. And next we have tonight's agenda, where we have space for welcomes and introductions, followed by our action item tracker review. After that will be the CERP incentive measure update, which will take a majority of tonight's meeting. And that will be followed by standing updates, our wrap up, and time for public comment. All right, and with all of that said, I'd like to officially welcome everybody to tonight's 46th Arvin and Lamont CSC meeting. Thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Maddie, and I'm joined by my fellow co-facilitators, Amy and Liz. Again, if anything comes up for you, any questions, please feel free to let us know in the chat, and we're happy to help. And at this time, I'd also like to invite our co-leads, Bianca and Cesar, to share some opening remarks. Bianca or Cesar, would one of you like to go first?
Whoa, all right. My camera started me off as pink, but it adjusted now. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I think this is definitely a great reminder that when it comes to community folks and access to government, for many people being able to share their needs with public servants, it's like a once in a lifetime, not opportunity, but event. So for everyone that's been here, we've been here for years and years and years. And every meeting is a once in a lifetime event for us where we get to have access with folks that can help us make the air better. So thank you everyone for using your power to make Arvin and Lamont a better place to live and to breathe.
Thank you, Cesar. Bianca?
I wanted to echo what Cesar was mentioning. Each meeting, it has their own different topic, but in all conjunction is for our better air quality. I know we're moving along really fast here. There's a lot of updates that we're getting from the Air District, from CARB, from all the agencies, and it's really important to have a good facilitating team. So I wanted to also thank you guys. I haven't thank you enough, but thank you for making this possible. In making this process a little bit easier for us, especially with all the time-consuming items that we do have. It's important to have a good facilitating team to make it possible. And also, I want to thank the community being here. I do see a good number of folks here, and without your presence and your persistence in changing the air quality in our area, we wouldn't have the AB 617 in Arvin and Lamont. So thank you.
Thank you, Bianca and Cesar, for your opening remarks. Really just honing in on having access to folks who can really make Arvin and Lamont much better for the folks who reside here. So really appreciate it. And at this time, I'd also like to welcome in Stephanie from the Air District to share some opening remarks as well.
Thanks, Maddie. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Ng, and I'm a program manager at the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. Jessica's unfortunately out sick today, so I know she's really bummed not to be here with this group tonight. I know she really looks forward to it, but I'm so grateful to see you all. And it was so amazing, just reflecting, I know it was a minute ago, but it was so great to see you all in December. And as we're starting the new year, I know our whole team is feeling really energized about all of the work that we've been doing with you all, and are looking forward to all the work that we'll dig into in tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Alrighty, and this is Maddie. So at this time, I'm happy to transition us to the next agenda item, which is the action item review. And as you all know, we really try to help facilitate a transparent process and keep folks accountable to some of the action items that are coming up for you all in the community and you share with us in these meetings. And so with that, I'm happy to welcome in Eric, who will be providing some updates. Please feel free to ask any questions or clarifications as they come up for you. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you so much, Maddie. Yes, this is Eric, your community liaison for Arvin and Lamont. I'll go ahead and share my screen to get going with the action items for today. Okay. Feel free to let me know if you could see my screen. Perfect. I see some head nods. So today we're actually going to just stick into the completed section. These are our action items from our last in-person CSC meeting. So I'll go ahead and jump right in. So clicking on our completed section. So our first action item, folks wanted to know a little bit more about emissions reductions for our road improvement projects in the Arvin and Lamont community. So we're excited to say that today we're actually going to be talking about emission reductions during our presentation. So very exciting there. And our next action item is for DPR to follow up with Mario regarding a question about 1,3D affecting groundwater. So I know DPR has sent Mario some information regarding that, and we just wanted to let folks know for any questions. I know Ivan has put his email a couple times in the chat, so here it is again. I can go ahead and throw that in there as well. Scrolling down, and for our last action item, so the Air District will provide the CSC with information on how to connect with the Kern County app. So Kern County has a website right here just to how to install the My Kern app to kind of report things that are happening in Kern County. And I could also put that in the chat after these action items. And again, it was just these 3 action items. So without further ado, I'll stop sharing my screen and leave it open. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. And at this time, I'll take a moment to see if there are any questions or need for clarification coming up for folks regarding the action items. Not seeing anybody's hands raised or anything coming through in the chat. But as a reminder, Eric will be sharing some contact information and some follow-up links in the chat regarding the action items. So those will be available for your review as well. All right. So if there are no questions, just taking one last scan here. Anything's coming up for folks? Okay. So there are no more questions, and I'm happy to pass it off to my colleague Liz for the next agenda item.
Thank you, Maddie. This is Liz. I'm trying out a new microphone, so please do let me know if you're having any trouble hearing me tonight. So I'm happy to transition us to our main agenda item for this evening. So for this item, we will hear updates on the current status of several SERP incentive measures. And as you most likely saw on the agenda, we will have some specific time for discussion and hearing your feedback around 2 measures one being the passenger vehicle replacement measure and the other the residential lawn and garden measure. We will have a few different presenters jumping in tonight. And again, we will have some specific time allotted for those discussions. So we will ask folks to kind of hold questions for those pause points throughout the presentation. And with that, I will pass it to Stephanie from the Air District to get us started with this agenda item.
Thank you, Liz. This is Stephanie. I'm a notoriously fast talker, so if at any point I'm talking too quickly, please feel free to stop me. I want to make sure everyone gets in all this good information. I do, just for transparency, because there are a handful of district folks and then also some folks from our partners at Valley Can. So I just want to quickly introduce a handful of folks that are going to help me with this presentation, which we do have Veronica and Jose from Valley Clean Air Now. And then I do also have from our grants team, I have Nia, and then I also have Akio here to answer any questions and present on a couple of the slides. And then also, as always, we have some of our folks from our OC team. We have Madi and Heather here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. Can everyone see this? Perfect. So I'm going to give updates on three main things. We had such a great meeting last month to discuss some paving updates. So we have some updates even since December that we wanted to share with you all, so you know kind of where we are with those projects that we're working with the city of Arvin on. Next, and I think this is something that CSC members have requested that the district is committed to kind of following up on, is a big comprehensive update on the status of our vehicle replacement program. And finally, we'll have some fun, really good updates on our residential lawn and garden measure. And like I mentioned at the start, I just wanted to thank everyone again for attending our December meeting. The in-person meeting is one of our favorite times that we get to spend with you all. It's so cool to see you all in person, to have dinner with you, to see your families in a lot of cases too, when you bring like your, I know there were folks that were even just not on our committee that were just interested in what we were doing. So we appreciate you all for kind of bringing in community members to learn about our process. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank you all and just appreciate you all for being there that night. During that meeting, we did discuss, I think as you all recall, in August, we had a really great presentation from the city of Arvin, from Christine, and then also Sam, the engineer from the city of Arvin, on a really great set of projects, of paving projects. And kind of from that August meeting kind of on to December, we really worked closely with the city of Arvin, and we are so grateful for the work that they did on these projects to kind of increase the emission reductions that were achieved through the project, which ended up kind of making the projects even better as a set. We included adding bike lanes to help increase, again, that emission reduction potential from this measure. And this is just a reminder, I know a lot of folks might recall this from the last few meetings, but as a reminder of the projects that we do have, kind of the final set that we have worked on with the city of Arvin, it's a total of $5.8 million with an estimated emissions reduction of 149 tons of criteria pollutants and CO2 equivalent emissions. And then there are three projects, actually. I think as you might recall, back in August, the CSC supported, based on the funding at that time, we could support two projects with kind of the funding that we had, and those were the South A Street and South Derby Street projects. And again, working with the city of Arvin, we were able to not only have South A Street, which again was road resurfacing, improved sidewalk access, and then South Derby was new sidewalks. In working with the city of Arvin over the past couple months, we're able to add bike lanes to South Derby Street. And then also we know it was a huge priority to community members that we were able to add Comanche Drive, which based on kind of that $6 million budget, that we are able to I know the city of Arvin will describe this better, but basically package them up so that we were able to bid out all three projects effectively together. And so the Comanche project included curb, gutter, and sidewalk installation along Comanche Drive. So again, I know a lot of folks in the community kind of can feel, I think, that sense of what a better, improved sidewalks, improved gutters and all of that really does, and bike lanes. But again, just to kind of really hit home, these types of projects do offer a lot of benefits to the community. The additions of curb, gutter, new sidewalks, sidewalk gap closures, bike lanes, they create safer, more accessible connections between a lot of like important things that are in the community. They also allow for more people to access, they're able to access the sidewalk so that they can walk and opt to not use their cars. So that's a really important aspect as well that we get decreased emissions from, is people are opting to bike more and to walk more, so they don't have to use their cars to get from place to place. And so kind of what are the next steps for this project? We again want to thank everyone for kind of all the work that the committee can put into these projects. We're excited to share after the December meeting and after kind of all the great feedback that you all shared. We did get approval from our district governing board this past month. We took it to our board right after that December meeting. And I just want to take a moment to really thank Bianca Santoyo and then Maria Stella for coming to our board meeting and giving a really great and meaningful comment. I think it's so important for our board to really hear the impacts directly from our community members and our CSC members. So we thank both of you so much for providing comment at our board meeting. The board was super excited about it and approved the projects. And so what we are currently working on is contracting with the city to work on these projects. There is a process where we have to, again, contract, and then also the city will have to take this to their board as well. Following that, the city is then going to work on design plans, and then also issuing, I know we've talked about it before in several processes, but something called a request for proposal to find someone to do the work. And they are aiming to begin the construction during the summer of this year, so that they can get this started when school's out of session. And of course, these are all things that will continue to update the CSC as we continue this work about how these paving projects are going. But again, we're so excited for this to kind of come to fruition, and really thank you all for the support and the great feedback and all of the work that you all put into it. I'll stop right here just for a moment to see if there are any paving questions before I transition to the next item. Feel free to pop things into the chat, or I'm happy. Oh, I see Bianca's hand. Go right ahead.
I just saw Christine right now, so I also wanted to thank, I wanted to appreciate the work that Christine was doing for the city of Arvin in making this possible quicker, faster, now that we're seeing the timeline when we're going to start in the summer. So hopefully we could get everything through at that time frame, and we're very excited. I know the residents from Arvin are excited to see that project come through.
Thanks, Bianca. This is Stephanie, and absolutely huge thank you to Christine and Sam for their work. We so appreciate it. And we feel I think they are so eager to get these projects started as well, and we totally feel that. So we want to work with them as much and as quickly as we can to get all of this started. Thanks, Bianca.
And this is Christine. Thank you for that acknowledgement. I appreciate that. I do need to have a conversation with the Air District, probably offline, about the contract. I have reviewed it. I've already talked to Sam about moving the design forward, but I have a couple of questions. So perhaps we could just schedule a meeting specifically on some of the contract language or the terms of payment in particular. I think we're probably going to need to get a little creative, because according to this contract, we have to put out the $6 million and complete the project before we're reimbursed. And that would really put a financial hardship on the city. But I think that conversation is best to have, with the Air District, and figure out a way that we can resolve this issue. Thank you.
This is Stephanie. Thank you, Christine. I'll have our team reach out tomorrow and we'll schedule something. All right. Thank you for those comments. I'm going to move us along to our next topic, which is our Passenger Vehicle Replace Program. And this is what we're going to call a 6-month check-in. Because as you all might remember, when we were first kicking off the Passenger Vehicle Replace Program, we had presented to the CSC kind of just generally, what is the program like what are the guidelines, what's the eligibility, and I think the CSC understandably had a lot of comments and just like questions about how the program was running because of course we hadn't opened it yet, and I think at that time it was really important for us to follow up and provide, and this is kind of that follow-up meeting where we are providing a comprehensive update on the program kind of 6 months after the program opened. I do see a hand, so I'm happy to take that question. Go ahead, Francisca.
Sí, buenas tardes. Estoy muy contento con el proyecto de las banquetas y las calles y me da gusto que esté progresando todo eso. Nomás que quería decirles que se oye, la que está hablando en inglés y la que habla en español se oyen al mismo tiempo y no se entiende muy bien. Es todo. Gracias.
This is Stephanie. Is anyone in the I'm only hearing the English. Is anyone experiencing both languages in one channel?
This is Liz. You may have to click silence original audio. Let us know if that's working or I see some nods. Okay.
Sí, ya está bien. Gracias.
Okay. Thank you.
This is Stephanie. Thank you for letting us know about your excitement. And then also I'm glad we could troubleshoot your those tech issues. But yeah, essentially what this update is that we had, when we were opening the program, committed to the CSC that we would come back in about 6 months after program launch to let you all know about how the Passenger Vehicle Replace program is going. And in the SERP, we have $4 million allocated. And the program launched in about June of 2024. So again, it's been open for about 6 months. And since the program launched, the district, our partners at Valley Can, and then also the local dealerships that are in the area in Kern County have been working on conducting outreach and assisting folks that are interested in going through the program. Oops. And so how is the program going right now? In only 6 months, we're through about 50% of the funding. So again, like I mentioned in the last slide, we have $4 million allocated. And as of right now, the numbers that our team pulled are just maybe a couple weeks behind. But the latest numbers that they did pull, we're just about $60 short of $2 million, which is about halfway through the funding, which is super, super great progress. We have 98 applications that we've received to replace older polluting vehicles with either new or used hybrid or electric vehicles. So essentially just cleaner options that are cleaner for the air and better kind of for the community. And of that process, there are 98 people going through the application. And once someone applies, they have some time to kind of shop around, to ask questions, to figure out what vehicle is kind of right for, their situation. And so it does take some time for some folks to go through that application process. So there are 93 people that have applied, and there are 63 people that have completed the transaction, which essentially means that they've successfully gone through the program. And I'll just take a moment to just talk about, we actually, in working with our partners at Valley Can, pulled some really interesting numbers and statistics that I'll just take a moment to share, and that AB 617 has been hugely important for getting residents of the Arvin Lamont AB 617 community involved in the Replace program. Before July of 2024, which is again around the time that the program opened, there were 34 people that had gone through the Replace program in the Arvin Lamont community in 8 years. So that's several years, and there were about 34 people. After July of 2024, which is again that kind of mark of about when the program opened, through the AB 617 Replace program, we had 63 people go through the program successfully in just 6 months. So again, that's really amazing progress and really important, I think, for the community members here in Arvin, Lamont for getting access to these resources, as kind of through AB 617, so many other folks were able to access these funds, access the program, and transition their vehicles to kind of cleaner technology. And then, in fact, at this point, only AB 617 communities have access to this type of replace funding that allows someone to replace their older vehicle with a newer one. I think a lot of folks on this committee are aware we do throughout the whole Valley Air District, we do have a district-wide program that's available throughout the whole Valley, but it does offer less funding than AB 617 communities. AB 617 communities go all the way up to 20,000, depending on the options they select. And our district-wide program, offers less than that. But at this time, our district-wide program has become so popular that we've essentially exhausted all of our fundings for our Valley-wide program. So as of right now, unless you're in one of our AB 617 communities, you don't have access to these funds as well. So I think it's really great that the folks that are in the Arvin Lamont community do have access to this program, and again, at that higher incentive amount. I will now, for a couple of slides, pass over to Akio to talk about some kind of program statistics of just some information about folks that have gone through the program and what that looks like.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. I'm Akio Bastian from the Valley Air District. Just want to talk about some of the statistics that we're seeing with the type of vehicles that the participants are selecting from your community. So, as Stephanie mentioned, there's 63 completed transactions since opening this 617 program for your community. And out of those 63 completed purchases, 47 of those were for either plug-in hybrid electric vehicles or for battery electric vehicles. The other 16 were towards non-plug-in hybrid electric vehicles that are now ineligible in the program. So this chart's focusing right here on the statistics for what is currently eligible as replacement vehicles in this program. So out of those 47 completed transactions for either battery electric vehicles or plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, most of those were towards the plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, with about 4 out of 5 of those participants choosing that selection. And then about a fifth of those chose a completely zero emission vehicle from one of our participating dealerships as a replacement vehicle. You can go ahead to the next slide. So out of those 47 vehicles that were either plug-in hybrid electric vehicles or battery electric vehicles, most of our participants did choose to go with the used car vehicle option still, even though they did have the option with the increased incentive for a new vehicle purchase. However, still a good amount of those participants, a little bit over a quarter of those participants, were able to receive either $18,000 or $20,000 towards the purchase of a brand new plug-in hybrid vehicle or battery electric vehicle. Just because most of the participants here got used vehicles, though, doesn't mean that they walked away with something that's not efficient. And we do take a lot of steps to make sure that all of our vehicles that are coming through this program are going to be efficient vehicles for our participants to use, whether they're new or used. So this is the stat breakdown between new and used vehicles. And then next, I think we're going to go ahead and have Veronica. Stephanie, actually. Take it away with this program outreach slide before Veronica gets into it.
Yeah, so I wanted to also, I know we talk about it a lot, especially for those of folks that join us in the outreach subcommittee, but we do a lot of program outreach in partnership with Valley Can. Between kind of both of our agencies, there's a lot of social media done, posts on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, on Nextdoor. Valley Can runs radio ads and also targeted digital ads. And I think as you all know, we are regularly out in the community in addition to Valley Can and regularly out at schools, talking to parents and connecting with school staff. And so anytime that we're out in the community, either at a community event or either at a school, we definitely are talking about all of our programs that residents can take advantage of, including this program. And then in addition to that, Valley Clean Air Now, or Valley Can, does host monthly workshops to help interested residents. So far, there are even months that Valley Can will host, an event in Arvin and in Lamont. So since the program opened in about June of 2024, they've hosted 10 different events throughout the community. I'm happy to pass it to Veronica in a second, but I do see 2 hands up. So I'm happy to take those questions. I think Jesus Alonso was first.
Thank you, and thank you for the breakdown. I think that's exactly what I wanted to see, to have a comprehension of how things are breaking down. I had 2 questions. One was, do you know on because something I hear in the community is concern that the money being put down as down payment is still not enough and would create huge payments. Do we have a number on average how the monthly payment or the overall cost of the vehicles came out for the participants that were able to switch out their vehicles?
This is Stephanie. That's a great question. I don't know that I know that statistic off the top of my head, but I do wonder if Akio and Veronica, if you all want to talk about, I know that Valley Can also offers kind of support with payments and kind of allowing folks to kind of make sure that they have the support to be able to make payments. I wonder if either of you want to speak to that.
Yeah, so my senior actually was able to pull some stats that kind of answered that question there. So the stats that I talked about in the previous 2 slides were just from up to January 15th, just last week, 2025. But he also had some other stats that he pulled, which included the median total purchase price, which is the price on the vehicle, taxes, fees, and optional add-ons like warranties. But basically, the median total purchase price minus the incentive was $17,196.93. So that kind of gives you an idea of what our participants are paying out of pocket.
Thanks, Akio. And this is Stephanie. Maybe to add, I do think there's a range. Now that you're saying that, Akio, I do think I saw that data as well. I think there is a little bit of a range. I think I saw that the minimum person, like the person that left paying the least, was about 1,200. So I think there is a range that some people are paying less and some people are kind of going to pay a little bit more depending on the option that they go for. But really, it is up to the individual to kind of decide what vehicle they want to leave with and ultimately what payment that they want to leave with as well. Thanks, Akio.
No problem. Thank you as well.
Wonderful. And the last one was, my last question is, are we still seeing an uptrend in people applying to getting these vehicles, or are we still seeing an uptrend?
That is a great question. I'll maybe start anecdotally because I actually have been talking to Valley Can because curiously, we naturally want to know the same thing. We want to make sure, that this program is still continuing to meet the needs of the community and is still popular. And I actually just had this conversation with Veronica, which I'm happy to pass to you in a second. But I think overall, from what I'm hearing from Veronica about these weeknight events that happen, as a reminder, Valley Can goes out to kind of local areas. I think there's pizza shop and then maybe another facility that they've been using throughout these weeknight events. And they're still seeing at all of these events a good amount of folks coming out, asking questions about the program, expressing their interest in participating. We actually just had one last night, which I don't want to spoil it, but it was a really good event. And I will actually right now then pass to Veronica to maybe talk a little bit more about this.
Thank you, Stephanie. So we had an event last night, as Stephanie mentioned. We had a total turnout of 30 households, equaling about 64 participants that showed up. We also had Mayor Olivia Calderon at the event last night participating. helping us, talk to the customers, listening to the conversations we're having with the customers. We have a total of 24 applications that were received last night. So we're definitely seeing a steady interest.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica, and thank you so much, Jesus, for your question. I saw Gustavo Senior next.
Yeah, my question is, do you have an estimate of the pollution reduction with, let's say, all the vehicles that were already approved? I don't know if you can give us an idea, the reduction monthly or by year, by car, any idea, so that can give us an idea how cleaner our air will be.
This is Stephanie. That is a great and honestly the important question of like why we're doing this work. I do think I have an older number, but now that I don't think we've pulled the latest number from these kind of latest transactions that we've had. So I actually want to go back to our team and it's something that we regularly keep track of that I just don't know off the top of my head. So I'll have the team pull those numbers and we'll send it out to the committee as a follow-up in the follow-up email to this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great question. And then I see Gabriela and Jose Ojeda.
Muy buenas noches. Soy José Ojeda. La única, lo que están hablando ahorita de los carros, yo apliqué desde hace como 3 meses, desde antes de, me parece que en noviembre, a principios de noviembre, me mandé lo que me pidieron todo y hasta la fecha no me han contestado nada para el reemplazo de auto. Entonces, yo no sé qué es qué más es lo que se necesita mandarles, o no sé, me pidieron la registración, aseguranza, comprobante de domicilio, me parece que copia de mi licencia, y me parece que fue todo, y todo se los mandé por el correo electrónico. Entonces, hasta la fecha, no sé si hicieron perder mis documentos o no sé, porque no me han contestado nada.
Buenas tardes, señor Ojeda. No sé si estoy bien. I can answer in Spanish, right? Or no?
This is Stephanie. Veronica, I think since you're in the English channel, I think maybe you can say it in English and they'll translate it for you.
Say it in English?
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
So I have a Jose Ojeda here. Obviously, I'm not going to disclose any information. I don't even know if I'm looking at the right account, but I can give you my personal cell phone number right now, 209-403-6278. We've made several attempts in the month of January, assuming this is the correct account. So if you call me right now on my cell phone, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Again, it's 209, and that's my personal number. So 403-6278.
Thanks, Veronica. This is Stephanie again. Jose, Veronica is happy to help you, and hopefully you got her number down. If not, maybe Veronica, you can like private message it to them too.
I just put it
Es que me lo dio muy rápido, disculpe.
Está en el chat, José, si gusta, lo acaba de poner Verónica.
Sí, gracias.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And maybe, Veronica, while you're here, I will pass to you to maybe highlight. I know you've talked about it a little already, But I thought maybe you could take a second to talk about the events and what you're seeing at them, and maybe just some of the questions you might get at some of these events.
So the events, as mentioned, we're still seeing a very steady flow of applicants, of applications. The most common question is that we get in every event is how long before I can get my new car? And obviously there's a process in place. There's going through your application, which will take a couple of weeks, and then submitting it to the district will take a couple of weeks, and then after that you get your approval, and by the time you look for a car, that'll take a couple of weeks as well. So it's definitely worth the wait, but that is one of the most common questions that we get is how long is the process?
Thank you, Veronica. And like you shared, I added some pictures that you all shared from last night's meeting, which we had. It sounds like the mayor came and was interested in applying. So we appreciate that support, and thanks to Valley Can for continuing to host these events where folks, have the opportunity to go in person, to ask the questions, to have that direct one-on-one kind of interaction with a team of really experienced staff. And I'll pass it. Oh,
This is Liz. It looks like we have a question in the chat. Do you have funds to put charging at home because Lamont only has one charging station?
This is Stephanie. That's a great question. I do believe, and Akio, I don't know if you have a little more information on this. There are funds available kind of through some of the partners that we work with to be able to install chargers. Akio?
I'm not totally sure about funds being or partners that help out with that portion there with home installations of charging stations. It is something that we've been working towards. However, we ran into some issues with finding certified electricians who will take on the job and contract with us. So we're finding new ways that we can try and incentivize some of these electricians in the area to actually get on board with the program. So that's something we can do for our participants in this program. But as of right now, that is unavailable, unfortunately. And looks like we may have a couple of other questions right now too. I'm not sure who was first there.
I think Gabriela is at an old hand.
Okay.
Let us know if you still have a question. But I think we can go to Mario.
We got like two charging station right here in Lamont. It's the one in the apartment over there in Haybaker. And so-called they say that they rent electrical cars there or something like that they were talking about. And two right here in Burger King, they got charging stations too. But I don't know how Burger King closed down. I don't know if they work or not, but they have charging stations there. And I think I see some other charging stations somewhere. I can't remember real well, but I think we have three of them.
Awesome. Great to know there's more than one. But yeah, there are some apps, websites out there that help you locate where there are EV charging stations as well too. So those could be a resource for you to possibly find more that you don't know about nearby.
This is Stephanie. Maybe I'll add, and this is maybe something for the district to look into. I do know that there are funds, maybe not so much for residents, but kind of for bigger, like through, I believe it's PG&E for kind of multi-dwelling units, like kind of bigger apartment complexes, and then also funding available for maybe not so much residents, but again, for like public spaces, for public agencies to install as well. So those are a few things that we can follow up on as well to see if there's some resources that we can offer to some of the, multi-dwelling like units, or to potentially any like city agencies or counties that are interested as well, just so that they have that resource.
Hey, Stephanie, this is Nia. I just wanted to quickly add that we do have our Charge Up program. available valley-wide for businesses and public agencies who are interested in installing level 2 or level 3 charging stations. So if you guys are aware of anyone who's interested, please by all means have them reach out to us, and we'd be happy to discuss the program with them too.
Yeah, that's definitely a way that we can increase the infrastructure of charging out there.
Huge thanks, team. And then also really great question, because like Akio is mentioning, these electric vehicles and these cleaner options only work when the infrastructure is there too. Yeah, so thank you. Let me know. There's a lot going on my screen, so I can't see the chat. Oh, I do see another hand though. Go ahead, Gustavo.
Yeah, just hearing the information that there is funding for the charging stations, especially for well, I think Arvin, Christine has been doing the advocacy, for charging stations, which is great. But for Lamont, what I was thinking, local entities that may be interested in applying and getting the charging stations. One will be the Lamont, the water district. Maybe the water district, if folks, know people there. I know that, one of the CSC members is a board member at the LPUD. So maybe, team, you are connected, talking to your folks there and see if there is interest in applying to putting a charging station on your office. The other option is I hope I say it correctly, Bear Mountain Parks and Recs, which I think everybody knows, the David Head Center, the park there is very popular place for Lamont residents. That entity is also a local entity that may be interested in applying. If there are folks that want to outreach to those entities, I think it will be a great opportunity for them to get the funding and support the community.
Thanks, Gustavo. This is Stephanie. I wrote both of those suggestions down, and we can certainly have someone on our Charge Up team follow up to see if there's interest in participating in the program.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I don't believe I see any other questions, so I'm going to pass over to Akio for this next slide.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. This is Akio. So yeah, the district, we're continuing to work on bringing additional dealerships onto our participating dealership list, weekly, daily, pretty much. When the program first opened for the AB 617 community of Arvin, Lamont, there were only 3 participating dealerships serving Kern County. Now there are 8 participating dealerships. So out of those in Bakersfield, we have Bill Wright Toyota, CarMax Bakersfield, Jim Burke Ford Lincoln, Nissan in Bakersfield, North Bakersfield Toyota, Three-Way Chevrolet Cadillac, and then as of today, we just added in Bakersfield Mitsubishi as well. Then in Shafter, we have Richland Chevrolet out there. So we have a good amount of dealerships that are accessible to the community members of Arvin and Lamont. And that number is just going to continue to grow. The program outreach that Valley Can doesn't stop at targeting just our participants, but it also goes and extends out to our dealership network as well. We have an awesome dealership engagement manager at Valley Can who travels throughout the valley, including Kern County, to keep increasing the knowledge of this program to our dealerships throughout the valley, and then also to bring back interested and prospective dealerships to us at the district to review and onboard for our program. So you'll continue to see that number grow as this program continues as well. That's the end of my slide there, though.
Thanks, Akio. And this is Stephanie. I'll wrap us up for this section. So what are the next steps with this program? We, again, are halfway through the funding and only 6 months of opening the program. So we continue to work with Valley CAN, the CSC, to kind of continue on and continue finding folks that are interested in participating in the program. Valley CAN is going to continue monthly weeknight workshops to assist interested applicants, and they'll do that all the way until the funding is exhausted. We at the district will continue to work with the CSC on different outreach opportunities, including all of the things that you all just mentioned, not just about kind of this program itself, but kind of the necessary things that allow people to have cleaner vehicles, such as the infrastructure. Those are things that we can all follow up on. And this is all done, including, in these CSC meetings, but we do also want to have these conversations in our outreach subcommittee as well. And then another thing that we want to continue to do with you all is, just because the program's going well right now, doesn't mean that we want to just stop and, not continue to understand how the program is going. So we do want to provide another comprehensive update exactly like this one on program progress in about 6 months to, again, assess kind of where we are with the program. And in the meantime, of course, our district team, Akio and his whole team will continue to kind of look at the program, see what, if there are any issues with it, any challenges, and continue to address them. But we do plan to bring, again, another one of these comprehensive updates to you all in about another 6 months. I'll pause here and see if there's any last questions that are related to our passenger vehicle replacement program. Because after this, I'm going to transition to our last topic of the presentation, which is our residential lawn and garden program.
This is Liz. It looks like maybe 1 or 2 more questions, one in the chat. So are there deadlines related to this program, or is it just until the funds are exhausted?
This is Stephanie. That is a super great question. And there are program deadlines associated with these funds that come down from the state legislature. And we are still, so as it was kind of outlined in the blueprint, which is kind of the state or California Air Resources CARB's guidance document, SERPs are outlined to be a 5-year program. So we do have some time with this funding still. But again, we want to make sure we're not waiting all the way until the 5th year to assess, are things going well, are things not? So we will continue to work with you all on how this program is going. But typically, through, as outlined kind of through this program and in the blueprint, it's a 5-year program for these community emissions reduction programs.
Thank you, Steph. And there's a hand up from Jesus.
Thank you. And sorry, it's not related to the vehicle replacement. I definitely have interest in the charge up program. I think one thing that I hear a lot from residents is, they would love to have an electric vehicle, but where do I charge it? And so I think if we can get the LPUD and Bearmont Parks on board, that would cover each side, each side of Lamont, and I'm sure we can look at the other communities too and see what locations would work there as well. Yeah.
Hi, Jesus. This is Akio, the Air District. I work on the Charge Up program as well too. So you can reach out to me. I'll drop my phone number and email in the chat here. That way you can get in contact with me if you have any questions or have anybody you'd like to reach out to me with questions about the Charge Up program. And if it's something that would work out for them, I'll be more than happy to assist.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, looks like one last question from Gustavo. Oh.
Yeah, Jesus. I didn't remember that you are also part of the LPUD board. Can you commit to follow up with the district and see if the district is interested and can get the funding, maybe the next step, maybe you and the district can give the committee a follow-up where we are, just to, tie the next step a little bit closer
Absolutely.
and stronger. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely follow up.
Thank you.
I love the networking that's happening here. And Emma, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I wanted to just quickly ask if it's possible to share a quick explanation on how the money is used that is collected at the charging stations. I know that's a question that I've been asked by folks in the past. So if possible, I would love to hear, like, is the money used for maintenance, operation, bills, I assume?
This is, go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Liz. This is Stephanie. Unless Aki or Nia, off the top of your head, typically we are not the ones to manage the chargers themselves. We kind of work with entities to install them. So that to me is a question that I'd have to follow up on, unless Akio or Nia, if that's something that you all know.
Sorry, was the question about eligible costs for chargers
For
in the
the charge up program,
program?
yes. What are the eligible costs go to?
So the eligible costs are here. Give me 1 second to pull them up.
So sorry, if I may
Go
clarify,
ahead.
sorry. So like when people go and charge their cars, they have to pay, right, while they are charging their vehicle. So the money that's collected from
Oh,
users, like
yes.
how is that money used? Sorry
I
about
gotcha.
that.
So sorry, not through our own program. And I think this is why, sorry, I think maybe it's something we'll need to follow up on. And this is like on the other side when someone, goes to pay for it, like what do all those fees go towards? I personally don't know that. I would assume some of it would go towards like maintenance and kind of offsetting the cost of electricity, but I don't want to say that incorrectly. So I think maybe we can track that as an action item and then follow up with you, Emma.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
For that previous question, though, this is Akio again. So the ineligible costs, I do have those available. That'll be a lot shorter list than what all the eligible costs could be. But the ineligible costs are going to include, but not limited to, but these are the main ones, monthly network subscription fees, permitting and inspection fees, and then ADA requirements as well, things that tie into those would be all ineligible costs. Also, if there's anything on the invoice that we deem that doesn't have anything to do or is not necessary for the purchase, for the installation or purchase of these charges, then we may deem those as ineligible costs as well too. But it mainly goes towards the purchase and installation of the chargers themselves. And
this is Stephanie. Thank you so much, Akio. For anyone interested in our charge up program, as you can maybe hear from Akio's description, a lot is covered, including, installation, purchasing the unit, maintaining it. So if you're interested in that program, let us know. And then Emma will look a little bit more into your request.
This is Liz. I see, Mario, your hand is up. We will take your question. I'll just say we have just 9 minutes left for this agenda item, and we do have one more discussion that the Air District was hoping to have. So if you could try to keep it brief, that would be appreciated, but would love to hear your question.
Oh, I got like 20 questions, but I think this question is just one for right now. Yeah, on the station, it sounds good what you guys said about, try, the basic what you guys was talking about right now. I was just giving a thumb up and I pressed the other hand up. But I got another question because I came a little late. Just one. It's about the sidewalks. Were we talking about the sidewalks today?
This is Stephanie. Mario, we gave an update about the how kind of things are progressing with the projects that we're working with the city of Arvin on.
Yeah, because I just wanted to know how long did it take for them to start putting the sidewalks on the projects here in Lamont?
Yeah, this is Stephanie. We also did have our team from Kern County at the December meeting to provide updates. We have contracted with Kern County to do the work, and now they're kind of working on all the steps that they need to continue that work. Paving projects do take a little bit. I know Christine kind of also hinted at that as well as some of the process she described. But I believe at this point, now that they're contracted, they're working on kind of the design phase and all of that work they need to set up the project ahead of construction. And so that's kind of where that project is at. And we'll continue to update you all. Of course, as we hit milestones with both of the projects with Kern County and the city of Arvin, we'll continue to give updates to you all on that work.
Yeah, because my understanding is that it'll take like a year and a half or something like that.
Sometimes, yeah. So there's a process where, this is Stephanie, and there's a process where, we have to take it to our board. First we have to work with this committee, make sure that there's projects that, of course, the committee supports, working kind of with our board to get approval. Sometimes the other agency has to also get approval from their board, and designing the project. So lots of steps. So it could take around that timeline, Mario.
Okay, I just want to make sure, what I heard was true. That's all. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mario. This is Liz. Yeah, go ahead. We can move on to the next portion of the presentation.
Thank you, Liz, and thanks for everyone's great questions all the way up for those two other items. I'll move us along to our residential lawn and garden measure, which I think most folks know, but I'm excited to share. We do have an event coming up in the community and have some kind of exciting updates related to that event. In the SERP originally, we'll just kind of set the scene. We do have $175,000 allocated in the SERP. So far, about 81,000 has been spent, and we've replaced over 200 mowers throughout the community. A big portion of that was at the event, through the event that we had in Lamont in the summer. And so right now we have technically 93,000 remaining in this measure, but I do say technically because I think as a lot of folks know, we do have an upcoming lawnmower exchange event in Arvin. It is going to be Saturday, February 8th at Arvin High School. It is combined with we are really fortunate that through this partnership with Valley Clean Air Now, the events that we host, kind of the lawnmower exchange event, they're continuing to grow, they're continuing to get better. If you went to the last event that we had in Lamont, it'll look even bigger because we're actually combining it with another program in your SERP, which is our vehicle repair program or our tune-in, tune-up program. Where essentially vehicles can get tested, get an emissions test, and if they don't pass that test, they get a voucher to do emissions-related repairs on their vehicle. And we'll actually have our district staff. We'll have Eric on my team, and then also Danny on the OC team. I think Nia as well, who's on this call, a handful of folks from our team down in Arvin on that day, and our district staff will be present to share just all of our outreach information that we normally do share at outreach events. And then we'll also sign qualified residents up for free air purifiers through our Valley-wide Clean Air Room program. I hope you all we sent several emails about this because we definitely wanted to put it on everyone's radar that the program was open and we were getting close to kind of filling up. As of now, the event is oversubscribed due to the high demand that we see in the community, and we still continue to kind of see that interest in events. And that leads me to potential opportunities for funding reallocation. This is the first time we've kind of approached this topic in the Arvin Lamont community because overall, most of our CERT measures are actually going very well and we're seeing progress across all of them. But as we kind of assess demand for programs, I did mention earlier, of course, through this program, it's about a 5-year program since we adopted the CERP, but we don't want to get all the way until the 5th year before we start thinking about do we need more funding here? Is this program going well? Is this program not going so well? And so we are committed to working with the CSC to reallocate funds when necessary. And to kind of help with this, we will work with you all to identify measures kind of either with low interest or kind of that have not been progressing as we had hoped. As of now, that 93,000 that I mentioned that was kind of is remaining in the SERP, pretty much will be wiped out. It'll be fully wiped out after that event in February. And so what we are proposing is to reallocate funds from our heavy duty truck replacement program, which has, unfortunately, we've talked about it a few times before with this committee. Unfortunately, due to a lot of challenges that we're seeing across really the whole state, with heavy duty trucks and kind of that challenge with transitioning trucks. It's a lot of things. It's due to kind of, I think, really a lot with the technology, and kind of that transition between, technology from all the way to like a battery electric vehicle. We're seeing a lot of challenges across the whole state, with folks taking advantage of this funding. And we've actually at this point had no participants since we launched the program. And it's actually one of pretty much our only measure at this point that hasn't had progress. Now, that being said, I will say, and I'm going to move us to this last slide here as I kind of describe this, that we have at this point $5 million in our truck, heavy duty truck measure. And as of right now, what we are proposing is to add $250,000 from our to our residential lawn and garden measure, which would allow for an additional 500 mowers and an additional event. What Valley Can is aiming to do is they're aiming to do about 300 units at these events that they do. So that 500 units that we're proposing will allow us to do another event in the community, which we have heard the interest, and we have already folks that can't participate in February, unfortunately, that still want to participate in another event. But that 500 will allow us to do another event and still kind of leave a little left over that even after the event, we could still have some people kind of apply and go through the program on their own. And again, like I mentioned, we are planning and proposing for this funding to be moved from heavy duty trucks, but $250K out of the trucks measure is really just a small drop. We have $5 million in the truck measure, and we of course are still going to try and pursue this measure because we understand it is an important priority of the community, but we want to make sure that we're coming to the community to let you all know when we see need, and we see kind of the shifting priorities in the SERP. And so with that, I'm happy to take any questions that folks have about this.
This is Liz. Thank you, Stephanie. I see several hands up already. Maybe before we start taking questions, we'll just remind you all of your charter. So for tonight's conversation, we are going to start by building some consensus, first hearing all of your questions, making sure that any question you have gets answered. And then we will see if there are any objections to moving forward with this proposal to reallocate funds. And if there are objections to moving forward, meaning you would say, no, we do not want to add funds at this time, then we would move to a vote that would happen at a later meeting. Your charter does state that votes have to take place at a meeting where it was stated on the agenda in advance. I'm just sharing that to remind you all of the process and to let you know that there is no pressure to make this decision tonight, but the opportunity is there to move the funds if we do find consensus. So I really do want to make space for you all to get your questions answered, and anything that can't be answered tonight, we will make sure to have that followed up for you. So we can start with our first hand up from Mario.
Yeah, what I would like to see if the members will get together and try to figure out how, if we could make a program ourselves to educate the people here in our community right here in Arvin and Lamont, Fuller Acres, Wheat Patch, to give them more information how to figure out, when they make complaint like that, they won't get lost or anything like that, to make it more easier. It's like for more education purpose. Because I know you guys doing a real good job, telling the residents all over. But I feel that we should do a little bit more for our community to educate them how to make a complaint. Really, really focus on what this program is all about. That's what I would like to see. If we do move money to make a program for ourselves, that we could get more involved and put some money on that project.
This
Thank
is
you.
Liz. Thank you, Mario. And yes, definitely hear you. And it sounds like some of that can happen in maybe the outreach subcommittee. And of course, the outreach and educational components are crucial to all of this work that we're talking about.
Yeah, but
So
I would like to see the members get more involved and maybe do a program ourselves, with a little bit of money to do outreach ourselves. Yeah. Understand?
yeah,
All right.
I think so. So it sounds like something maybe outside of the AB 617 SERP. We'll have that noted and
No,
we'll bring
it
that
be
up.
with
Yeah, go ahead.
it will be with the 6.7, but it's like a together type deal. I wish
Yeah.
I wish I could explain it a little bit better. Right now I'm just like a little weary or thinking.
It's okay. No, thank you. And I also struggle with my words a lot, so totally understand. And just so that we're clear, we'll have someone from the Air District follow up just to make sure that we really understand what you are suggesting. Thank you for sharing, Mario. So we can go to Cesar.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy that Mario went before me. I'd like to offer to work with Mario and the Air District to take advantage of an opportunity that came up during an Ivan task force meeting. Ivan is our reporting network, and somebody with the Air District offered to connect us with the outreach team that the Air District has to set up one of these reporting kind of know-how meetings. So I can work with Mario and the rest of my team on the Ivan platform to, plan a day where we can do a reporting one-on-one, maybe in the David Head Center. But I'll reach out to Mario and I can make sure that that happens. And then that way we get, even more events to take advantage of. The other thing that I wanted to note is that the money that we're going to move represents half of 1% of the pot of money that it's coming from, which is a pot of money that isn't being taken advantage of as much as some of the other programs that are being taken advantage of and being exhausted quite quickly. And I think that shows enthusiasm from the community. And I see Emma as well, so I'll include Emma in those efforts. So I just want to note that I think reallocating these funds is a great idea. I would love for us to move, I think consensus can be reached because I think this is definitely something that's going to help out residents a lot. And it's only going to represent 0.05% of the money that it's coming from. So I think it would be an awesome idea to move this money, and I support moving it to make sure that we can have another lawnmower event. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Liz. And so it sounds like some great points here, an opportunity to get together. And maybe if you are interested in joining Cesar in that effort, put your name in the chat. And yeah, we can go to Jesus Alonso. I believe you're next.
Thank you. What came to mind is, well, I guess a couple questions. How much time do we have to use these funds? to finish these measures.
This is Stephanie. Like I mentioned at the beginning of kind of earlier in the meeting, the SERPs kind of as outlined in the kind of through AB 617 and through the CARBS blueprint technically outlines 5 years of SERP implementation that's kind of set by the, by the blueprint and kind of what this process came down as from AB 617 or Assembly Bill 617. And so that for Arvin Lamont, I'm going to do the math in my head, will be, don't quote me, maybe I might have to double check this, but I believe it is October of 2027. I'll double check that, but that's kind of, I think, the timeline that we do have. But we do have some time to think about these things. But I will say from our experience, Arvin Lamont is a year 3 community, so we do have some experience with kind of implementing this process across Shafter and across Fresno and across Stockton. And I will say just generally from our experience of kind of moving through, 3 other communities, that thinking about these things sooner rather than later is a really good thing, because we just don't want it to come to the case that, it gets to that end of that 5-year period. And there's lots of, we want to make sure we're coming to you with these decisions sooner rather than later. So maybe that'll be my 2 cents on that.
Thank you. No, I completely agree with that. What came to mind was that, initially we did agree that the truck program or truck replacement program was something we wanted to do. I know we ran into a lot of obstacles there. And I believe from when we voted, and I'm trying to remember how long ago it was, but when we last discussed the truck replacement program, it sounded, or there was discussions about moving those, moving the 5 billion to the other programs, or coming up with another measure. I think, pulling apart 250,000 is a great idea, and we should also set a time or date here soon where we can revisit what we want to do with those 5 million if we really do want to move forward with the current truck plan, if we want to split it to the other existing measures, or if there's another measure that can go to that we would have to create. And so, that would be up to the residents. That'd be up to the residents. But yeah, I do like the idea of splitting off in this direction.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that. And that's definitely something that we are committed to work with you on. We definitely don't want to leave, money on the table, as it were. And we definitely, though, I guess on the other side, something I will say and just remind us of, because I think it is a goal of the SERP, is trucks get so many emission reductions. I think I don't think I need to tell anyone in this group that trucks, they do have, a lot of impacts in the community related to air pollution. And so that is a reason why we still want to pursue this measure. But of course, I think to your point, Jesus, I think as we see the need and the demand kind of with other measures and see kind of, things shifting with other measures, we definitely want to have these conversations with you all for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus. Looks like Gustavo, you are next.
Yeah, first, no objections to, transfer, reallocate the funding. And second, I want to propose to reallocate not to 250, but 300, increased to 300. And the reasoning is, I think what, the district already shared, looks like you have more people wanting to get the lawnmowers than the funding available. So I think we should capitalize on the interest of the residents wanting to do the exchange and not lose, those that want to do that and maybe not having the funding available they will be, they will not want to follow up and try to do that. So I think we should capitalize on the the willingness of residents. That's the other piece. The other piece that we learn, and the district knows, comments from the community in the chapter, 617 project. Uh, Residents regularly complain that most of the funding went to industry, for ag industry and other places, and not a lot to the community directly to benefit, the community. And I think here we have the opportunity to do better, learn from, lessons from other places, and try to reallocate funding that is going to directly benefit the community. So I propose to increase it to 300, and hoping that we can have consensus this evening so we can capitalize on the coming event.
Thank you, Gustavo. So it sounds like there might be a suggestion to maybe add more funds than what was proposed. I'm not sure, Stephanie, if you have any context that you wanted to share, or just if there would be any restrictions with that, or yeah.
This is Stephanie. I think that amount makes sense. I do think 300K sounds good for kind of the thought of doing another event and allowing some space for some other people to participate after that. And I think kind of we can always kind of reassess in the future too, but I think that makes sense, 300K.
This is Liz. Thank you for adding that. And I see your hand is still up, Gustavo. Did you have another question?
No, thank you. I think it's the same hand. Sorry.
No problem. And we can go to Gabriela and Jose next.
Buenas tardes, soy Gabriela. Nada más quería comentar acerca de los fondos, de que dijeron que se va a ir a votaciones, pero lo tienen que anunciar primero. ¿Es correcto eso que yo entendí? Que no se pueden hacer las votaciones por decir si ahorita los residentes quisiéramos hacer votación para que sí se traspasen esos fondos, no se puede.
Great question. And this is Liz. I'm happy to clarify that a little bit more. So the group can make a decision on this tonight. We would do that through building consensus. And so if the majority of the group agrees and we don't hear any objections, then that would be the group agreeing to reallocate those funds without having to move into a formal vote. And so what the vote would look like, if we do hear objections, maybe some folks don't agree with reallocating funds, then we would go into small breakout groups and we would call your names one by one and we would record a yes or no vote. And then we would need a majority voting yes to reallocate those funds. And as per your charter, the vote can only happen if it was announced on the agenda. And so that particular piece of voting one by one, keeping in line with your charter, we would have to postpone to the next meeting. But if we can come to an agreement tonight where everybody would like to move forward and we do have consensus, then that counts as a yes. The CSC votes to reallocate those funds and the Air District can move forward with that. Did that clarify, or is there still confusion with the process?
Me aclaró la pregunta y me gustaría posponer poder decir que si están de acuerdo los miembros de la comunidad y todos los que estamos aquí participando en que se tome una decisión en esta junta, si es posible.
Yes, that is possible.
Gracias. Gracias.
Thank you. And I do see a few more hands up, and we do want to hear from all of you. I'm just looking at the time and just want to get a temperature check from the group and see, as of right now, do we have any objections? Does anybody feel like they do not have enough information to make this decision tonight? Or are we in agreement already? Do we already have consensus here? So I'll just ask one more time to the group. Unmute yourself, raise your hand, put it in the chat if you do object.
Do you want to do thumbs up also, or as a voting or raising hands?
Only if you maybe raise your hand if you object. We only want to know if you do not want this.
Well, it depends.
Sí, no quieren.
If for the money's going at, is it just to go on program on law motors, or is it for educational, or because too I want some money for to educate the people. That's what I want.
Yes. So that will come at a different conversation, Mario. So for tonight, the money would go to that residential lawn and garden measure.
Okay.
Outreach is a part of that, and education is a part of that. But I think what you're asking for is something a little different.
No, not really.
Okay.
Well, anyways, I'll vote yes on the law motors.
Thank you. And I did
Yo
see
también
some...
voto que sí en las cortadoras de zacate.
Yo también. Mis votos para las cortadoras de
Thank
zacate.
you. So I'm not seeing
Yo también.
any objections. I am hearing a lot of support, actually. So I think that we can take this as we've reached consensus. And so the Air District will move forward with reallocating 300,000 to the residential lawn and garden measure, which is really exciting. We know how popular that has been, and just really great to see everybody come to this decision together. So thank you for engaging in this process tonight. Yeah, anything that you wanted to add, Stephanie?
This is Stephanie. No, I just wanted to thank everyone so much. I think from what I've understood from all the folks that we've talked to that have signed up and went through the event, folks really enjoy it. And it's a really easy one-stop shop to participate in the program. And we still have from February's event, a lot of people that want to participate that couldn't. So we are really, really grateful to all for the opportunity to continue serving folks and allowing them to participate in this program. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing folks. Hopefully, I do think we have a good handful of folks joining us on February 8th. So we look forward to seeing you all at Arvin High School.
Thank you. This is Liz, and I see, Emma, your hand. Go ahead.
Thanks, Liz. Just wanted to mention that a recommendation or feedback that I received from community was that the exchange program was, I think, a little bit easier than doing the rebate, because it allows folks to just take their lawnmower to the event rather than having to take extra steps. So just wanted to share that in case that there's an opportunity to do another exchange. The other piece I wanted to add is, so it sounds like, and please correct me if I misunderstood, so the rest of the funding for this for the heavy duty truck measure is going to continue to be monitored to see if it can be used towards this measure. If not, there would be another opportunity to reallocate the funds. So I wanted to bring attention to some of the other suggested CSC items that we voted on earlier in the year. Which were the incentive program for installation of the EV charging infrastructure, which is, there was a lot of conversation about that this evening. So if there is an opportunity for reallocation of funds, I think using it towards that could be helpful. And this is all from, again, measures that we discussed as a CSC a few years back. The other one was a new street sweeper. There's a lot of areas in the community that don't have sidewalks. There's a lot of fugitive dust that happens. So if I remember correctly, residents were advocating for the street sweeper to try to reduce some of that dust. And then lastly, there was a car sharing program for residents of the community. That one was, I think, the least popular one, according to the number of people that voted for it. But again, I understand that we just voted to move funding towards the lawnmower program. But if there is another opportunity, I think maybe talking through those would be helpful as well, in case that there's interest from folks. Thank you.
Tenía un comentario de los cargadores, si pueden, dinero que sobra, ponerlo para los cargadores, para los carros electrónicos. La verdad es que en Arvin nada más hay un solo cargador que carga rápido y la mayoría del tiempo está descompuesto. Y hay, junto de los veteranos hay más, pero cargan bien despancito y la verdad que es bien duro tener un carro eléctrico aquí en Arvin, porque no, y para poner uno en tu casa estás hablando de bastante dinero, por lo menos yo creo, para el cable y el cargador cuesta bastante, arriba de $2,000. Y la verdad, para tener carros eléctricos aquí en Arvin va a estar bien duro, porque pues no hay cómo cargar. Quería ver si sobraba algún dinero de cualquier cosa, si podían ponerlo sobre cargadores. Bueno, es
Thank
todo.
you. This is Stephanie. Thank you so much for that comment. And then thank you, Emma, for your comment. Like I mentioned, we of course will still kind of pursue this, trying to find applicants, especially focusing on small businesses, to kind of find someone who might be interested in replacing their trucks. Because again, it is something that we know has been a priority of the committee. But I want to thank Emma for bringing up those couple of things. I've taken note of it. And then just a reminder of some of the things that, or some of the other measures that CSC members had brought up in the original SERP development process. And then I just wanted to also, to the comment about the chargers, just let folks know that we do have funding in our right now currently through the district that's available to the whole valley actually, through our Charge Up program, which is the program that Nia from our grants team had mentioned. And so after this meeting tomorrow, we'll start working with our Charge Up team to start reaching out to some folks that could be eligible and participate in the program. I made note of some suggestions already, including Bear Mountain Rec and the Water District. If there's any other areas that you all think that would like to see chargers, we're happy to reach out to that agency or business to get them connected to the funding that we do have here at the district for public charging infrastructure.
Pues yo diría como por las escuelas para también tener un poco como de seguridad, porque uno se tiene que quedar ahí cargando, y aparte como los maestros, si tienen su carro y cosas así, pues en lo que dan clases pueden recargar, o los estudiantes.
This is Liz. Really great suggestions, and thank you all for sharing that. We're diligently taking notes and action items. I see hand up from Mario. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, did you guys talk about what I was asking last time? We had it on the SERP, I think it was this SERP that they were supposed to talk about it.
Mario, could you share a little bit more of what you were thinking about?
Well, I had a couple questions on certain things.
Oh, was it related to the pesticides and 1,3-D.
Yeah, and not only that, other things too.
Yes, so I think
also we were supposed to talk about that today, no?
So I think some of your questions, they were supposed to follow up with you outside of this meeting. And tonight we do have a quick update from DPR to hear about their 1,3-D regulation changes. So we will have a quick update from them tonight. And then the pesticide subcommittee will also be briefly announced. And that will be a great time to continue those conversations. So a little bit tonight and then more to come.
Yeah, but I would like our members to know what's going on with what they want to talk to me about. I'll be honest with you. I prefer all of us knowing what's going on, not just me. 'Cause I don't like those separate meetings. I don't like them. I prefer for everybody to know, like that we could have a real good understanding. Understand me?
Definitely.
Okay. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mario. And we will have that noted, and for all the other questions that you have, bring those back into these group spaces so everyone can hear the answers. Any final questions about these SERP incentive measures before we transition to those standing updates?
Soy Elvia García. Nomás tenía una pregunta. Habían dicho en una junta que iban a investigar a ver si en una casa podrían agarrar 2 carros, dar 2 carros y agarrar 2 carros. No sé si sí se pudo o no se pudo.
For the vehicle replacement program, correct?
Sí.
So this is Akio. It has been clarified recently by our management that it is going to be based on the individual. So if as long as the individual hasn't previously it wasn't previously on the registration of a vehicle that has been funded in this program before, then they meet all the other eligibility requirements, and that individual would be able to apply for a replacement vehicle in this program. So there can't be multiple individuals from one household as long as that individual hasn't been tied to a previous project.
Ok, gracias.
You're welcome.
Great question, and thank you, Akio, and all the other folks who joined this meeting to share your deep knowledge on these subjects. So at this time, I'm going to pass it to my colleague Amy to transition us.
Thank you, Liz. Good evening, everyone. As you know, during this standing update agenda item, we dedicate time to hearing from community partners, government agencies, and other individuals who have updates about events that are happening in the community. And I just wanted to remind you all that during this time, it's really important to ensure that we hear from all community members and government agencies so that we can collectively ensure the well-being of Arvin, Lamont. So to do that, we're going to kick off our conversation by inviting Caltrans to provide us with an update. And I'm looking at my screen to see if I can see Jason. There you are, Jason.
Hey.
Welcome, Jason.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Can hear you perfectly. Go ahead.
Great, thank you. Well, this is my first time here, and first and foremost, I just want to say how wonderful this meeting has gone and how great this group is, the steering committee, the air district, everyone involved in this is just absolutely fantastic, and this is just an exemplary example of community outreach. That's first and foremost. So I took over. I'm transitioning, taking over for Lorena Mendiblis. And then also I know Mimi Obrahim was also part of this as well. I started with Caltrans in 2017 and started as an associate environmental planner in delivery. Now I've moved over to planning, and I am my new position, which I started in July. I'm the climate change adaptation program manager here at District 6. So I'm a senior transportation planner. So I work on the state highway system, but State Route 184 is running right through the middle of everything, right? So what I'm here to talk about tonight and provide an update on is the Weed Patch Highway 3R rehab project. That's been on the books for a while, and I'm assuming, again, that people are at least somewhat familiar with the project, right? And have probably heard it in previous meetings. I know Lorena did a small presentation in December. So that project is scheduled to go to construction this December, 2025, right? So, and my delivery experience that I have, which is great, I can look in and see if that is, if things are rolling along to be legitimately December to 2025, and they are. The project did become ready to list, so it's moving, which is great. So that's a 3R project which is a rehab scope, pavement, curb, gutter, sidewalks, upgraded driveways, raised medians, light poles, street lights. Is all part of the scope of this particular project, and it's the actual project limits, just so I'm familiarizing myself with it as we go here too. It's on State Route 184 between Post Mile .08, which is just below Dunsmuir Street, and goes all the way up north Post Mile 8.6, which is at Breckenridge Road. Just good size, almost 8 miles of rehab. So it's a good sized project. So anyway, like I said, I'm just joining in. I do come from delivery. So what I'm going to do on my end is I'm going to sit down, I'm going to butt into the PDT, which is the project development team internally at Caltrans, right? And catch up to speed with this project. I know the construction date, which is obviously important to everybody, but also kind of want to get a better idea of the scope. So I'm going to look at the 100% plans, and so I'll be playing a little catch up. But I know we do meet monthly, correct? Okay. So I'll have, so it's great that I do have that delivery experience because I can kind of dig in a little more and get the true nuts and bolts of what's really going on. So I just haven't had that opportunity yet, but yeah, I will do that. And come February, I'll have a more specific update on the nuts and bolts of that Weed Patch Highway rehab project. So, and that's basically it for me. And another thing I wanted to say is, again, it's my first meeting, but there's a lot of community outreach going on. Can Caltrans help in that effort, right? Caltrans has social media, right? So if the air district wants to reach out or whatever we want to do, but if Caltrans can add community events to their social media pages to just maybe help with outreach events, I don't know, maybe not, but however I can help, that's what I want to do. So, but that was the main event for Caltrans tonight.
Thank you so much, Jason. This is Amy for sharing. Maybe what we'll do, since you are new, is provide or turn this into an action item to have maybe the Air District reach out to you directly, Jason, to give you a little orientation about what is possible.
Okay.
In terms of, collaborating on outreach and public awareness, etc.
Great.
So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm also seeing our colleagues here from DPR. Jimmy or Yvonne, any updates on your end?
We have Mario raised his hand. I don't know if we're going to go to him or should I just continue?
Mario, go ahead. Did you have a question for Caltrans?
Yeah, I just want to know if Caltrans is to fix up Lamont Main Street. Because I was talking about that. It's already overdue for like 5 years ago. They were supposed to fix it up. They're supposed to fix up the sidewalks and our street lamps and some signs that used to be there. Because now we don't need to have signs in the middle of the barrier. And I just wanted to know what's going on with that part. And two, we were supposed to go with somebody out there to look at the area and pinpoint what's going on. I mean, this is like already like 3 or 4 months ago. Me and Tim supposed to go out there. I just wanted to know what's going on with that part.
This is Amy. Thank you, Mario. And Jason, I do see you moving your lips. So I'm not sure if you're talking and you're unmuted or not unmuted.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
My bad. So the Lamont is definitely involved. That the post mile limits definitely include Lamont, right? And what I received from Lorena, and again, I'll just read it verbatim in terms of the scope of work is include upgraded roadway, curb, gutter, sidewalks, curb ramps, and then I know there's driveways that they're going to upgrade, new raised medians, new light poles, and street lights. So that's the project description that I received from Lorena. So I just read that verbatim. In terms of a field trip, my apologies. I was not aware that that was supposed to happen. Considering where things are at in the process of delivery, I don't know, was that, so you said Tim and you were supposed to go on that field trip. Who set that up with you, if you don't mind? Do you have a name that I can follow up with at Caltrans?
It was in the meeting. We had a meeting like before December or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
and we
Mario.
was
Go
and
ahead, sorry.
we were supposed to get together and look at the area like that we could pinpoint all the problems that we had right there in the main street. And that's the reason why, because it's already been like 5 years. They've been just marking the streets, but nothing was ever done.
Yeah.
And
That's where,
you know, oh, go ahead,
no,
go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's because you know, it's I think it's overdue, and I feel that we have to start really getting the street fixed because it's looking very bad, you know, real bad.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, I come from that delivery side, so I know, for one, I know the difficulty of delivering a Caltrans project, especially with utilities and right of way and everything going along. Not an excuse. It is. I also know there's railroad involvement there. This is where I can dig in and actually get you an answer on, hey, why is this taking so long? To at least give you an answer. But at a minimum, like I said, I've now gone into the levels that I can go into internally and see what's really going on with respect to delivery. And what I see is a legitimate opportunity for the construction date to be December 2025, right? So, and what I'll do in the meantime is follow up on this field visit that Caltrans, is working on. First and foremost, follow up with that, and then second, get together with the project management and confirm, because I know it's been waiting, right? I've seen those dates, so get answers on that, right, and at least an explanation of where we're at. So that's my commitment for this next upcoming meeting, is to dig into the timeline of this project further. So
Yeah.
you get that no nonsense assessment of what's really going on. But
Yeah,
like I
not
said, those are the things I looked at, and those are the things I know what people want to know, especially if they've been hearing, hey, it's going to be ready this time. It's going to be ready this time. It's going to be ready this time. I can see, right now that there's a serious chance, of it happening here in December 2025, considering the
yeah,
project has listed.
yeah, because there's a couple of projects here that so-called they're supposed to work on, like our park was supposed to have a new park, and not only that, they're supposed to put speed bumps on Alicante School. It's already, it's already based on is they do it, but they haven't did it. It already passed close to 2 years waiting for those speed bumps for the school. And that's a long time. I mean, especially when they already gave the okay.
Now, is that on the local roads?
Thank you. What we can do, Jason, Mario,
Yeah.
hi, Mario and Jason, this is Amy again.
Yeah.
What we can do, Mario and Jason, is we'll send you a link to we'll post it in the chat right now where all the action items live so that you can go through the archive of action items and see which ones are still pending from Caltrans.
Okay.
And maybe at the next meeting, then we'll make sure to have an update from you, Jason. I want to be respectful of everyone's time right now because there's a lot of history to go through. And so we'll make that an action item for now. And then team, if we could put the link to the public action items on the chat so that Jason can have that link readily available.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mario.
Thank you.
I also see Gustavo's hand raised. Go ahead, Gustavo.
Yeah, just a clarifying question for Caltrans. You said that December, 25 is to end the construction or to start the constructions, and if it's to start, any projections on when it will be completed?
Yeah. So that would be begin construction. And I'll look at, I can also get the number of proposed construction days. So that'll be an action item for next February. Those are the numbers I can get. So like I said, I can get you that kind of no nonsense look at it, right? Those are projections that Caltrans does. So it will start in December 2025. And in February, I'll have a number of actual construction days that the engineer is anticipating the project will take. So we'll clear that up February 2025.
Thank you, Jason. And this is Amy again. Thank you, Gustavo. I appreciate the transparency and clarity that you're bringing to tonight's meeting. Your ability to commit and say that you're going to come back with answers is super helpful and respectful for the community. So I just appreciate your orientation for tonight's meeting. And again, welcome to the meeting. At this time, we're going to transition to Department of Pesticide Regulations, DPR. Any updates on your end that you'd like to share tonight?
Oh, sorry. Hi, this is Jimmy. I'm going to be presenting an update on the 1,3-D regulation. Basically, the Department of Pesticide Regulation has proposed new regulations to protect occupational bystanders in the general vicinity of a treated field to reduce the risk of. DPR is currently accepting comments on the regulation. That's going to be happening throughout till 5 p.m. on January 24th, 2025. DPR has hosted already 4 public comment hearings earlier this month, but if you
cutting off.
Oh, sorry.
There's a weird delay on your end. I see Angela here. I'm not sure if Yvonne, I don't know if they can jump in because it's hard to keep track.
I think Yvonne can cover it since Jimmy's connection's unstable. Go ahead, Yvonne.
Yeah, Jimmy's frozen.
¿Qué tal? ¿Me escuchan a todos?
Sí.
Ok. Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Iván Delgado y Jimmy tuvo problemas con la conexión, así que voy a repetir la información. Denme un segundo, por favor. Ok. Actually, si hablo en inglés, ¿tengo que moverme al canal del inglés o lo puedo hablar aquí en inglés?
You should be in the English channel.
Okay, here I am. Can you all hear me? Okay, so here's the update about 13D. The Department of Pesticide Regulation, or DPR, has proposed new regulations developed jointly with and mutually with the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, OEHA, to protect occupational bystanders in the general vicinity of a treated field to reduce the risk of 13D exposure. DPR is accepting comments on the regulation until 5 p.m. on January 24th, 2025, which is this Friday. Comments can be submitted via Smart Comment Portal, email, by mail, or by fax. And DPR has hosted 4 public hearings earlier this month. But if you were unable to attend, there's still time to comment. More information about ways to connect and the regulation can be found in the following links that are, I'm about to share. I'll share it after my next update. Mi próximo actualización lo voy a dar en español, nomás para variar un poco y divertirnos aquí en la reunión. La siguiente actualización es sobre Spray Days. La Oficina de Ley Administrativa aprobó la reglamentación del sistema de notificación de aplicaciones de pesticidas en el estado el 13 de diciembre del 2024. El reglamento final apoyará la implementación en todo el estado de Spray Days, California. Es un sistema único de su tipo para proporcionar información anticipada sobre las aplicaciones que están planificadas de pesticidas y materiales restringidos utilizados en la agricultura. El reglamento de notificación a nivel estatal entrará en vigencia el 24 de febrero de 2025 y el DPR comenzará la implementación del sistema estatal Spray Days California en marzo de 2025. Ya, o sea, como en 6 semanas, ya estamos pronto. El DPR llevará a cabo actividades de divulgación de a los productores, las comunidades y el público en general antes del lanzamiento del sistema, para así proporcionar más información sobre los requisitos reglamentarios y la información proporcionada en el sistema, incluyendo la información sobre el sistema regulatorio de pesticidas en California. En las próximas semanas compartiremos más información sobre el sistema de notificación y también haremos una demostración en la reunión del subcomité de pesticidas en el mes de marzo. Gracias. Preguntas. En marzo, en la reunión del subcomité de pesticidas de marzo, haremos una demostración en video. Oh,
We
wait,
have
I went back.
Yeah, but we have a question from Bianca before you go on to the next one. Bianca,
Sí.
go ahead.
Would it be a demonstration for the community for Arvin and Lamont and Shafter, or just for Arvin and Lamont?
This is Stephanie. Bianca, it's going to be for Arvin, Lamont, and Shafter.
Okay,
That
thank
question.
you.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Ivan.
Oh, eso sería todo. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Ivan, for those updates. At this time, we're going to transition to Carb and welcome Carb to provide us with any updates.
Yeah, I have quite a few. I just want to do a time check before I get going. Are we good with that?
Yeah, we're a little bit over time. So if you want to do a quick overview, or we can send them via email, it's up to you. We also have some updates from the Air District to get to. I'm not sure, Stephanie, how you're feeling about you and Danny providing via email. It's up to you all.
This is Stephanie. Danny and I will have just a really quick update, but Michelle, I'll just say that if you want, we are going to follow up with this email with all of those great updates that we got from all of the agencies. So whatever kind of overview you want to provide, no matter what, we'll provide a written update to everyone tomorrow.
Okay, well, I'm going to do my best. I'll go as fast as I can. So I'm going to start out with, since we just got off of DPR update with the pesticide monitoring update, I just want to let everybody know that sort of where we're at with that pesticide monitoring that happened, in both Arvin and Lamont and the locations that you all picked out. I think I forgot to say, this is Michelle Byers. I am your CARB state representative, your liaison to all things state and mobile source. So, okay, getting back to the pesticide monitoring, we just received the laboratory data from all the sampling that we did. And so our team is basically working to take into all the field information that goes along with those laboratory tests and kind of combining them and understanding them and going back and forth. It's a multi-agency thing where everybody is involved. And so it takes quite a while. And essentially that process has just started on our end. And so, doing that review and then also producing the report, both have to go through multiple agencies. So it takes a while. So I just want to let everybody know that we're still a ways out and we don't even have an ETA for getting you that report. And we're also not going to be releasing the raw data because there's just so much back and forth to confirm that, what the data is and what the conditions when it was taken. So just want to let everybody know that. And last month or last time we met, we set up a little area and talked about mobile sources. And so I just want to get back to you on a few things with that. One of the questions was about kind of the flyers and the information about what makes a truck compliant. And so that's what a lot of the links that I shared just about 15 minutes ago, that's what those links are all about. So hopefully those will help. And if they don't, or if it's too confusing, please reach out to me and I can find you somebody to help walk through the process because it's a lot of links and a lot of information, I tell you. The other thing I wanted to just let you know is that sometime in the next few weeks, our enforcement team, based on some of the places where you all told me where there are trucks parking and potentially idling, our enforcement team is going to go out in the next few weeks and kind of do some surveillance throughout the community and just see what's going on and see where they might be able to help. I also still want to implore you to let me know if there are intersections, for instance, where you see a lot of truck traffic that could be problematic or that you just want to note that it's a concern. I am always open to hearing any of that and passing that along to our enforcement team. I think that some of that truck traffic might be seasonal. So please let us know. Maybe you're not seeing it right now, but maybe you're going to start seeing it in a few months. So definitely please keep me informed of any concerns you have related to truck traffic. And I have a little bit of information. Probably you all have heard in the national news that California has withdrawn a few of our requests for waivers from the federal EPA. I don't want to get into too much detail because it can all be very confusing. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. At this point, I think probably the easiest thing to say is that we are going to defend all the waivers that we did get. And many of those waivers are allowing us to move forward and get some significant reductions. And that we'll continue to push from that standpoint and also working with our industry partners on the heavy duty vehicles, for instance, and really reducing the emissions from them. I feel like I'm missing something. Let me just double check. Waivers, the trucks, pesticide monitoring. I think that's it. And I'm going to drop my email into the chat. Let me know if you have any questions or anything you'd just like to say, or of course, I'm always available for reaching out to.
This is Amy. Thank you, Michelle. And a reminder to the committee that you will get these updates via email as well. I know we're a little bit over time, so I'm going to transition to the Air District. Stephanie and Danny are going to provide some quick updates. So I'll just hand it to both of you so that we can expedite the process.
This is Stephanie. Danny and I are going to give like a 1-minute update together. I just Yvonne mentioned it, but I just want to share that as Yvonne mentioned, we typically have our pesticide subcommittee we would have had it at the end of February, but I think for all the reasons Yvonne just mentioned of trying to get, getting close enough to when spray days is going to get released to give you all a meaningful opportunity to like engage and get a demo, we are going to do the pesticide subcommittee on March 11th, and we will share that information with you all really shortly. Go ahead, Danny.
Great. Thanks, Stephanie. This is Danny Gonzalez at the Outreach Communications team at the Valley Air District. Just real quickly, our team will be out in Arvin, Lamont, February 10th to provide calendars, our annual House Schools Kids calendars for 2025 out in the Arvin, Lamont community to schools and other community-based organizations. But if you have any location that you want to make sure that we touch base with, provide calendars to, please let us know. Again, we'll be out, and thanks, Stephanie, she's there highlighting the calendar, our awesome calendar. We'll be out in the community February 10th. So please let us know before then.
Thank you so much, Air District. Appreciate that. At this time, we're going to transition to wrapping up the meeting. I know we're a little bit over time, so I just have a few quick reminders. And I see Cesar has his hand raised. Go ahead, Cesar.
Yeah, whenever there's space for public comment, I think my hand's for most appropriately done then.
Perfect. Okay, let me just give an update and then you'll be next. So our agenda setting meeting is scheduled for February 6th from 4 to 5 via Zoom. Everyone should have that in their invite calendar. And then of course, our next meeting will also be on Zoom, and it'll be February 26th from 5 to 7. And you should also have that in your calendar. At this time, we'll go ahead and send you the action items via email instead of spending extra time reading them aloud. But as always, these action items are to facilitate transparency and accountability of all the commitments that are made to you as a community during these meetings. If you have any questions or modifications for the action items, please do reach out once you receive that email. At this time, we're going to transition to public comment. So as a reminder, public comment is available to any public government meeting, and all comments are welcome. So go ahead, Cesar.
Yeah, thank you. I'm definitely going to follow up over email, but I have a few questions regarding the current energy fence line plan that was resubmitted and approved in November. I'll just name a few of them now. There is third parties that are mentioned to do a fence line review, the monitoring review on page 94 of the submitted plan. I would like to know if those third-party reviews are going to be public, and if the third-party reviewer has already been chosen to do those reviews. I also noticed that there is more than just 3 months of historical data available now, so thank you for making that happen. The only problem is now the graphs do not show reference levels, so people don't know when those levels are dangerous to report, which I think is a step backwards in transparency, and I would like for that decision to be reversed. But again, I am happy that there is more than just 3 months of historical data available now. And I would also like to know if, per the new submitted plan, if there have been any changes to public notification, for example, telling folks when there's leaks, if there's any variance updates or issues that may affect production for the nearby community members, as well as justification as to why certain parts of the fence line were chosen to not be monitored by the Air District, including the north side of the eastern tanks. So I can type this up and send it over email. I just wanted to make sure that that was added to the action items.
Stephanie, go ahead.
No, I was just going to thank Cesar for following up. And then I wrote some notes down too, but I'll look forward to seeing your email, and we can connect with our team. And then also I see folks from Current Energy as well. So we can connect as a team and follow up with your questions.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for coming to the meeting.
Thank you, Cesar. And so we'll be sure to add Current Energy to that action item too, so that we can hear directly from Current. I don't see Melinda here tonight, but I do see other folks. So we'll include you in the action item so we can hear an official response. Anything else to add, Cesar or Bianca, as our co-leads to close up tonight's meeting?
It sounds like we're a pretty decisive bunch. I think we came up with a consensus to move the money. So it sounds like the world is moving fast, but we're also willing to move fast. And so just thank you to everybody that was, here to help make sure that the community could get a little bit more. Thank you.
Yes, echoing what Cesar was mentioning, everything is moving very fast, but at the same time, there's projects that are gonna benefit the community, and we're excited to see the events coming forward. I know I'll be there on the February the 8th. I know it's gonna be a very fantastic event. I was there in the one in Lamont, and I did get to see a lot of community folks really saying hi and passing by and letting them know that these programs are here to stay, not just for a short period of time, but we're trying to make, sorry, on the background. We're trying to make it feasible for everybody to take advantage of them. Sorry about that.
No need to apologize. It just demonstrates the reality of the commitment that everyone has to these meetings, meeting from home and having other responsibilities. So really appreciate everyone's time. And as I said before, you'll be receiving an email that has all of the action items and follow-up communication from all the agencies that have updates for tonight. So thanks everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you at the agenda setting meeting and at the next